Hi, this is a mini lecture for Chapter 11, which looks at global and international issues. Here are the learning objectives for this chapter. You can go ahead and pause and read them. So we've already looked at the whole strategic management process. We've looked at how business ethics, environmental sustainability, and social responsibility impact our strategy. And now we're going to take a brief look at how global and international issues impact strategy. So strategic management hinges on managers gaining an understanding of our competitors, markets, prices, our suppliers, our distributors, our different governments, creditors, shareholders, and customers worldwide. We are forever more and more of a global marketplace, which I think we've really seen with, the COVID-19 pandemic really showed us how global we are and how interdependent we all are. So we have to really understand how our product and services, both price, quality, etc., need to be competitive on a worldwide basis, not just in the country that we are, our home country. So globalization is the process of doing business worldwide. So strategic decisions are made based on global profitability of the firm rather than just considering our domestic market, meaning our home market. A global strategy includes designing, producing, and marketing products with global needs in mind instead of considering just individual countries. And there really is this concept of looking at globalization versus localization. So globalization says we make one product and we sell it to the whole world. I think Coca-Cola is a great example of that. A Coke is a Coke as a Coke. It might be a teeny tiny different in some countries depending, but for the most part, it's Coca-Cola. Localization looks at adapting our products and services. So, for example, in the United States, you would go to McDonald's and buy a hamburger. But if you went to India, they would not sell hamburgers because most of the people do not eat beef because cows are a sacred animal. So you would have more chicken products or vegetarian offerings. Multinational firms are firms that conduct business operations across national borders, so in different countries. So some of the advantages of global business are that we can get new customers. So we look at this and this would be considered market development in terms of our strategic management concepts. We can absorb excess capacity, reduce unit costs, spread risk over a wider number of markets. So maybe we're producing something and we have some excess capacity, meaning we could produce more. We can enter into a new market, a new country, and try to eliminate that excess capacity. It can allow firms to establish low-cost production facilities in locations that are close to raw materials or cheap labor. So for example, if you buy an iPhone, they are usually assembled in China because most of the component parts come from China, so it makes sense. And competitors in foreign markets may not exist, or there might be less competition than in domestic markets. Another thing that companies sometimes do is they will take, let's say that you're a cell phone company, and a model of your cell phone became dated in a more developed country. They'll go to a more developing country where cell phones are just starting to become popular, which I know that's hard to believe, but there are countries where that's the case. And they'll sell those technologies that are kind of outdated in other parts of the world to that market instead. Foreign operations may result in reduced tariffs, lower taxes, more favorable political treatment. The tax issue is a huge issue, especially for US-based businesses. Joint ventures can enable firms to learn new technologies, understand culture, which is a huge piece in international business practices of other people, and make contacts with potential customers, suppliers, creditors, and distributors in foreign countries. Sometimes it's actually necessary in order to enter a country, depending on what country that is. You might have to have a domestic partner. Economies of scale can be achieved from operation in a global rather than a domestic market. And a firm's power and prestige in domestic markets may be enhanced if they become global. Some of the the disadvantages of global businesses are that foreign operations could be seized. A lot of times, one of the biggest issues is not understanding social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, governmental, legal, technological, economic, and competitive forces in different markets around the world. That's probably one of the biggest ones for companies. You really have to understand all of those aspects of the countries that you're going into. A lot of times we overestimate the weaknesses of competitors in foreign markets and um, underestimate their strengths. So we kind of go in with that, oh, we're so great mentality, and that's not good. Language, culture, and value systems can be a barrier. We kind of talked about this a little bit when we talked about bribery in one of the last chapters. Um, Understanding of regional organizations, dealing with different monetary systems makes it more complicated. So just a lot of issues can come up. The global challenge. So obviously, America's economy is becoming much less American, as they put it here, or we are just becoming a much more diverse and global world in general. So we're kind of seeing this emergence of a world economy. We're seeing monetary systems that are converging. We saw this with the euro. Um, but then we also recently saw Brexit. So there's all, and if you don't know about that, you can look it up. It's, the UK kind of said, no, we don't really want to be part of the European Union anymore. So, those are some of the challenges in this global economy. Markets are shifting rapidly. We're seeing a lot of converging in tastes, trends, and prices. And a lot of this is because of the internet, because we have access to much more knowledge. One of the big issues is protectionism, and this is when countries impose tariffs, taxes, and regulations on firms that are importing in order to favor domestic companies and people. And I think we've even seen this in the United States. This can shift depending on the administration that's in the White House. And so this kind of ebbs and flows even in the United States. Outsourcing is a big one. This is when companies hire other companies to take over various parts of their functional operations. It could be human resources, information systems, customer service, payroll, accounting, marketing, production. It could be a variety of different things. I think we see this a lot in call centers. I'm sure if you've ever called for customer service, a lot of times very evident that that is outsourced, and that's fine. They can do it much cheaper and efficiently and do a good job. Reshoring is when a company decides to move a portion of their manufacturing or back to the home country. So maybe we decided to offshore, as we might call it. So maybe it's a company that decided to produce their product in Mexico, and then NAFTA is changing, the North American Free Trade Agreement is changing, and we saw sort of a shift back to protectionism. So we thought, oh, we'll come back to the United States, and that would be reshoring. All right, so your book talks a lot about different cultures and doing business in different regions around the world. And I'm not going to cover that because you can read that, but and you also have a forum where you need to look at culture and ethics in another country and talk to your classmates about that. So I'm not going to go over that because I think that you'll get that through those other activities. So that's just a really brief overview of some of the major concepts in this chapter. Thanks.